In a world where the climate crisis threatens global food security and desertification relentlessly creeps forward, Saudi Arabia is taking on one of the most ambitious projects of our time, transforming its barren deserts into farmland. For a country that imports the vast majority of its food, this isn't just a matter of national pride. It's an urgent mission for survival and a significant part of Saudi Vision 2030. Can this vision succeed, or will the effort come with consequences too costly to bear? When most people think of Saudi Arabia, images of sprawling deserts, oil fields, and luxury come to mind. Yet, Saudi Arabia's wealth and dependence on oil are only one side of the story. Under Vision 2030, the kingdom aims to diversify its economy, secure its food supply, and reduce its reliance on imports. The goals outlined in Vision 2030 are bold. Beyond economic and societal reform, the kingdom is betting on an audacious transformation of its landscape. Imagine transforming endless stretches of sand dunes into fields of wheat, barley, and vegetables. It's a staggering ambition, especially for a country where less than 2% of the land is arable. This transformation requires innovation, massive resources, and a willingness to confront daunting challenges. To turn this dream into a reality, Saudi Arabia is investing billions in revolutionary technologies, from sophisticated irrigation systems to desalination plants and precision agriculture tools. But before we delve into the details of these technologies, we need to understand the scale of the challenges the kingdom faces and why achieving food security has become a top priority. Historically, Saudi Arabia has struggled with food security. With a harsh climate, little rainfall, and soil that is mostly unsuitable for farming, the country has long relied on imports to meet its needs. Over 80% of its food supply is imported, leaving the nation vulnerable to global market fluctuations and potential disruptions. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed these vulnerabilities even further, pushing Saudi Arabia to accelerate its plans to increase local food production. The kingdom's food security journey began in the 1970s, when oil wealth allowed it to experiment with growing its own wheat. By the 1980s, Saudi Arabia had achieved self-sufficiency in wheat production, an incredible feat in a desert country. But the cost was high, as the water required to sustain wheat production took a severe toll on the nation's limited water resources. Central to Saudi Arabia's agricultural initiatives is a technology known as center pivot irrigation. Developed in the mid-20th century, center pivot irrigation has been instrumental in turning arid lands into productive farmland across the globe. But in Saudi Arabia, this system is put to the ultimate test. Imagine a giant rotating sprinkler arm that can cover hundreds of acres in a perfect circle, distributing water directly to crops with minimal evaporation. These crop circles can be seen from space, transforming the barren landscape into a mosaic of green against the desert brown. However, this approach is heavily reliant on water, specifically fossil water from ancient aquifers beneath the Arabian Peninsula. Unlike rivers or lakes, fossil water is finite and non-renewable. These aquifers, which contain water deposited during prehistoric times, have allowed Saudi agriculture to flourish temporarily. Yet, scientists warn that these reserves could be exhausted within a few decades. The reliance on fossil aquifers raises an essential question. Can Saudi Arabia continue to draw upon these ancient water sources, or will they eventually run dry, leaving the nation facing an even greater crisis? Recognizing the limitations of fossil aquifers, Saudi Arabia has invested heavily in desalination, an innovative but costly process of turning salt water into fresh water. Today, the kingdom is the largest producer of desalinated water in the world, with more than 30 plants operating along its coasts. But desalination has its own challenges. The process requires an immense amount of energy, making it both costly and environmentally taxing. Saudi Arabia's desalination plants are predominantly powered by fossil fuels, which contributes to greenhouse gas emissions. There's also the issue of brine disposal. For every liter of freshwater produced, there's a corresponding liter of concentrated brine, which, when dumped back into the sea, disrupts marine ecosystems. Despite these issues, desalination remains crucial for Saudi Arabia's agricultural ambitions. By creating fresh water for irrigation, the kingdom aims to reduce its reliance on fossil aquifers. But with each step forward, a new layer of complexity arises: economic, environmental, and logistical. To optimize water use and reduce waste, Saudi Arabia has adopted precision agriculture techniques that rely on data-driven insights. Drones equipped with thermal imaging and sensors scan fields for areas experiencing water stress. This allows farmers to focus irrigation where it's most needed, minimizing water waste. Satellite imaging complements these efforts by providing a bird's-eye view of crop health, soil conditions, and water distribution across massive farmlands. Together, these tools allow for smart farming, where each resource, from water to fertilizer, is applied precisely where it will be most effective. But these high-tech solutions come at a high price. While wealthy nations like Saudi Arabia can afford such investments, the cost of implementing precision agriculture at a national scale could pose a challenge in the long run, especially as the country aims to reduce its reliance on oil revenues. Today, Saudi Arabia has achieved remarkable progress in producing a variety of crops. In addition to dates, which remain one of the country's most famous exports, the kingdom has made strides in growing vegetables, fruits, and even dairy products in the desert. Through advanced greenhouse technology, Saudi farmers are able to cultivate tomatoes, cucumbers, and peppers, which are either sold domestically or exported to neighboring countries. The kingdom is also experimenting with hydroponics and vertical farming, methods that use significantly less water and reduce the need for traditional soil. However, the achievements come at a cost. Fossil water resources, already scarce, are being drained rapidly, sparking concerns among environmentalists and hydrologists. If these aquifers are depleted, the country may face an irreversible water crisis. Desalination, while an impressive feat, leaves behind brine with high levels of salt and chemicals that, when dumped into the sea, disrupt marine ecosystems. This dual dependency on finite fossil water and energy-intensive desalination has sparked debates about whether Saudi Arabia's agricultural efforts can be truly sustainable in the long term. There's also an economic angle to consider. Saudi Arabia's agricultural ambitions are intertwined with global food markets. If successful, Saudi Arabia could reduce its reliance on food imports, which would shield it from price fluctuations in the global market. However, as food production increases, there's also potential for the kingdom to become an exporter of agricultural products. This shift could position Saudi Arabia as a key player in the Middle East and beyond, boosting its political influence in the region. But this vision remains speculative, dependent on the sustainability of its agricultural infrastructure and the kingdom's ability to manage its water resources wisely. Saudi Arabia's determination to turn desert sands into productive farmland is as ambitious as it is complex. This endeavor underscores the human drive to conquer natural limitations, pushing the boundaries of what's possible with technology and resources. However, it also highlights a paradox that haunts many arid countries: the high environmental cost of creating agricultural oases. As the world watches Saudi Arabia's desert farming experiment unfold, it serves as both an inspiration and a cautionary tale. In the coming years, we will see if this desert transformation can provide a blueprint for food security, or if it will stand as a reminder of the delicate balance between ambition and sustainability. The question remains, can humanity truly reshape its environment without depleting it, or will nature always have the final word? Only time will tell.